Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How is your day going so far?
It's going pretty good.
Okay.
They're pretty hectic, but
Right.
things are advancing.
We're gonna start by you telling me about going into the same grade.
When I went into the first grade, my first year in school, I ended up having to go to three different schools in three different states
In the same class.
in the same first grade class.
Right, because of your
Okay, so I started in Kansas in a town called Oswego.
yes.
And I previously told about what happened there and my father going for schooling in Boulder, Colorado. We
Good.
moved there because my grandparents lived there and he was taking the schooling, and my mother and I could stay with them. They had a little acreage outside of town, a small farm, which my grandfather worked. You know, he had a few animals and he raised some gardening and all that. And I went to school there for the second school, and did they
The
kept
third so where did you go to school the third time? Where
the
did you
third
move?
time I went to school in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh.
So it was a third state, and was the largest. It was a city, Lincoln, Nebraska. It was not a town. It was about 125,000 people. So it had the University of Nebraska, and it was it was larger. But I also lived on the edge of town there, so that's where I started the third part of my first grade education. And so it was just kind of a strange. And my father then had a job there. He had finished his schooling and he started a job with the company called Colorado Fuel and Iron.
Right. So how did it make you feel moving from place to place, you
Well,
know?
it kind of made me feel insecure because I was a timid child. I was an only child. My mother couldn't have any more children because of birthing problems,
Right.
and she had, she was I had very good parents. They were very supportive of me and all, but it was still difficult for me because I had to make new friends three
Three
times in
times.
1 year
Yes,
and
in
then
one year.
adjust to learning. I was now in school learning to
Yes.
read and write and all the primary subjects that we all learn. And then I lived for the rest of my life till I was 17 years old. I went to different schools in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Right.
So that was really where I grew up.
Good.
But that was just a little story about my first years and my first education.
Right. So how about friends when you were 7 and 8? Did you have a lot of friends?
Yes, I did. We lived in the house that we had in Lincoln. The first one was a big apartment. There was a street. It was called C Street. It was a nice area where there were a lot of very large homes that had been. A lot of them had been were owned privately, but people had converted part of the home into apartments. So my father rented an apartment which had an outside entrance, but it was a very nice area, very nice street, very nice people and children that I played with. I knew everybody up and down the
So
block.
you would go outside to play and
Yes, I had lots of friends, and I had those friends even though we moved away from there in a couple of years because my parents built a house of their own. Uh, More to the outskirts of Lincoln. Lincoln was a very nice city. It had several colleges. It was a very clean city, very little crime, very little problems of that sort. And it still is. It's a college town.
right.
And anyway, as I said, I grew up there. I still have friends there that I connect with after all these years because when I was 17, my father was offered a job in New York City with a company most people know and have heard of called Fruit of the Loom. And that company was on 34th Street across from Macy's, which most people have heard of, a
Okay.